Hi guys, we talk about Flexicurity today, and I talk about that because I've heard so much the last years that people want to move from the UK, and then I see people moving to all kinds of countries, specifically the south of Europe. I lived in those countries many years, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you need to have cash flow for that. You need to have a permanent job for that. And that's what you need to be happy in the south of Europe. I refer to, of course, France, Spain, Portugal, those beautiful places where people normally move. I think there is a conception where people think that, oh, if I move to Spain, I'm going to be happy, or if I move to Portugal, I'm going to be happy. But the honest truth is that you're not going to be more happy in another country than whatever country you left, Spain and Portugal for, because there is a massive unemployment everywhere, especially in Spain and Portugal, especially in those countries, And that's why I wanted to urge everyone that does move abroad, that before you move abroad, and I'm definitely talking from my own experience, I've lived in different countries, I know what you need, so I have real experience. Real genuine experience. And that's why I make these videos, because I have something to say. So I urge you to have at least 5 grand before you move abroad to any European country. And also 5 grand will last you for 1 or 2 months. And also have a job landed before you leave your country. If you don't, you will just accumulate disappointment in your life. Maybe you afford, a lot of mistakes. Maybe you can go back home. Maybe you have somewhere to live, then good for you, But there is one thing to take a risk, and another thing to get yourself into despair and disappointments and whatever. If you take chances, that means that you have a dry place to come back to, so you won't lose out on much. It can be coming back to a job or to a house where you can live or whatever. But I'm telling you, if you don't have that, you need to make sure that you have money so you can move. If you don't have money so you can move, it's going to be very disappointing for you if you fail, because many of us fail many times in life, especially when we go to a new country and do different things than we normally do in our own country. However, I've seen so much despair through the years, I've seen so much disappointments, so I think it's very important that me, with the experience, tell you guys that if you're gonna move abroad, doesn't matter what country you move to, make sure you have money for at least 2-3 months, plus a job landed. That is it. Okay? And now I wanted to mention Flexicurity again, because with Flexicurity, first of all, Flexicurity, it actually means that the job market is flexible, and you also have security if you lose your job. You understand? So that is Flexicurity. I already mentioned in my other video what countries are good for that. Okay. Of course, you're going to make your own research and all that, but I'm just here to guide you and to give you better prospects of life, because I see so many people do mistakes, and they get disappointed they get depressed and oh, why not, you know, and what not, you know. So I just try to give a bit of light to the world. However, if you move to a country of your own choice that has flexicurity, it means 3 positive things. It means you don't have any problems with your rent. You will never miss a rent, because flexicurity, if you lose your job, it means that you have unemployment security. That means that you will have money. If you worked for a year in Europe, in those flexicurity countries, you will be able to get money so you can pay your rent and everything, you know. So in flexicurity countries, there is a lot of unemployment security. And this is why they are so good, those countries. Okay. However, it's not only that. You can always buy food and not be hungry. And that means you can stay healthy. You know? There's nothing worse than not having money for food. I don't know if you've been there. I've been there in my past. When I was young, I just moved to a few countries, started to work, but then in the end of the month, like, you didn't have almost any money left. You know, I'm just saying, spread your wings, but be a bit thoughtful now, because the market is very different. The market is not the same as it used to be like 10 years ago, 5 years ago. It's changed a lot. So you have to be smarter than you had to be before. Before, a few years back, you could just go somewhere, you will find a job after a few months, but that's not the case anymore. And that's why I make these videos. And of course, my videos will be about life in general, but this is a subject that is very important, because I hear that over and over again. I hear people talk about this over and over and over again. So I just thought I mentioned very important things that could gain you, you know, security actually. Okay. And if you have money, if you lose your job abroad, if you have money because of flexicurity, if you can pay your rent, if you can pay food, then you have something else that's one of the most important things in life, and that is to have peace of mind. Peace of mind. You can pay your rent, you can pay your food, so you won't have any worries. You have peace of mind. And peace of mind is very important, because it doesn't make you depressed if you have peace of mind. You're not going to be irritable or hungry, angry because of hunger. You're just going to be all fine. And another thing about flexicurity is that if you live in a country with flexicurity, most other things as well are so good in those countries, because people pay quite a lot of tax. So if you move to a flexicurity country, you have to expect to pay about 30% tax. In Sweden, you pay about 30% tax, and even more in very prominent neighborhoods, yeah? And Denmark, you pay quite high tax in Denmark as well. The Netherlands is a very popular country, and as far as I know, it's highly populated. You know, highly populated. I think that the Netherlands is almost as highly populated as Maltese Island. It's very dense, very many people, you know, live very close to each other. But okay, it's popular, so this is really good if you want to go there. But expect a lot of competition in all those countries. and also to learn Dutch, because they speak Dutch there. I would think that's a very hard language to learn. Like really hard language to learn. If you speak Dutch, put your comments down. If you think about moving abroad, just put your comments down. You know, if there's any of these countries you want to know more about, I know so much about Europe and all the European countries, most of them anyway. And put your comments down, ask any questions, or even if you have any advice, just put your comments down. And yeah, have a lovely day, and we will keep on informing and gaining knowledge from each other. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hear from you guys, because yeah, I make these videos for you, and especially for you, you know. And whatever you have to say, just put the comments down. It makes me very happy to get comments, and you know, I'm gonna keep on thriving and keep on making a lot of videos, because there are so many subjects now where I know that I have experience and where I know I can help people. You know, what do they say? Knowledge is power, right? So I think we should help each other, and we should build communities, okay? So that's what this channel is about, building communities, helping each other with stuff, gaining information, giving information, okay? Guys, I see you very, very soon, okay? Have a lovely day, and don't forget to subscribe and put all your comments down, okay? Bye.